Comes the Sun. On the Steve Austin rating of Beatles albums or songs, that's number 3, their third best song. Their second best song is Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and their best song in my mind is Come Together. I'll manage to squeeze them in somewhere over the next 12 months or so. If you've been outside today, you know it's hot, but did you know that there is apparently a dust storm coming? Something wicked this way comes. Lauren Patty is...
잠시 후 좌회전입니다. 전방에 연속으로 과속 방지턱입니다. 전방에 과속 방지턱입니다.
Inland, really hot today. It does continue the heat tomorrow for those. It still remains above average, but it is a cooling trend to Friday and the weekend. So by the time we get to the weekend, it should be out there in Ipswich.
Joyous news, Lauren. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Lauren Patty from Senior Forecaster, Euro Media Watch.
You're with Steve Austin on ABC Radio Brisbane.
Well, you may have heard the news today that in a Brisbane courtroom, a man was convicted of manslaughter over the disappearance and death of his wife 18 years ago. He was charged with murder, was found not guilty of murder, but was found guilty of manslaughter. The ABC's Ellie Simpson was there. Quite a remarkable case, Ellie.
Well, Edmund Ian Riggs, who's charged with murdering his wife Patricia back in 2001, he was actually found guilty of manslaughter by a Supreme Court jury earlier today and acquitted of the murder charge. So at the beginning of his trial, he actually pleaded guilty to interfering with her corpse. So he admitted right from the beginning of that trial that he had buried his wife's body, but he denied that it was murder. So during the trial, he actually gave his version of events, which was the first time for a lot of people that we heard his story, I guess.
What did he say? What did he say allegedly happened, apparently happened?
So when Riggs took the stand, his version of events was that the pair had an argument back in 2001 and that his wife Patricia spat on his face. He said that they were fighting over a list of sex workers that were found in his clothing. He said that he pushed her and she fell and hit her head on a bedpost, and that she fell to the ground, started convulsing and died within seconds. He said that his brain just froze, that he panicked and went into shock, and instead of calling for help and asking for paramedics to come and give CPR, he thought that he would be going to jail. He thought that nobody would believe what had happened, so he wrapped his wife up in bedding, put her on the bed, wrapped her up in the rug as well, then put her in the boot of his car, took her body up to bushland near Caboolture, where he buried her in a shallow grave. It was then, he said, a few years later he noticed heavy machinery in the area and he was worried that she would be found, so he went back to that site, dug up part of her remains and then took her back to the family home and buried her behind a shed on that Margate property.
How macabre. Crikey. Alright, so this story is like a 15-year journey back to court today.
Well, that's right. So she disappeared in 2001, but he wasn't actually charged with murder until her partial remains were discovered by the new owner of the property, who was building a retaining wall. So that happened in 2016. So now that the trial is over, that's been almost 18 years for the family who've been at court every day watching this murder trial.
So was he charged the first time? So today was a manslaughter charge. Sorry, he was charged with murder, but there's no not guilty of murder, but guilty of manslaughter. How did it come to court at this time and not way back?
So it's just been a couple of years, I guess, in the process of gathering all of the evidence. It wasn't until they actually found her bones in 2016 that he was charged. So it's taken a few years to proceed through the courts to this point.
Was
But
she listed as a missing person up until that time?
she'd been listed as a missing person.
Okay.
That's right.
Right, okay. All right, now what other evidence did we hear? So he'd been found guilty of manslaughter. How long was he spending in prison?
He'll actually be sentenced at a later date, so they didn't go through that today. They said that they'll need to work out some perjury charges now for the fact that he lied to police, and he also needs to be sentenced for interfering with a corpse. So they're returning to court next month to work out his sentence. Patricia Riggs' brother spoke outside of court, and he said that the family was really shocked by the verdict and disappointed, and that they wanted Riggs to tell them where Patricia's remains are so that they can bury her with dignity.
So the family of the deceased wife is disappointed that he wasn't found guilty of murder.
They said that they were unhappy with that verdict. Yes, they said that they didn't really know what they were expecting, but they were lost for words a bit out the front of court today.
And some of this poor woman's remains are still missing, but not been found.
Well, that's correct. So Riggs, some of her remains have been found on that property, their family home, but the rest of her body is actually somewhere where that is. Only Riggs knows that.
This is a family that had children. Well, they weren't in court to hear all this in the car.
So the Riggs and Patricia had 4 children, and 2 of them were called to give evidence during the trial. They had to watch back at video recordings of their interviews with police back when they were something like 9 years old at the time, which would be incredibly difficult. And they gave evidence that they didn't actually see or hear anything that night. They didn't know what had happened.
What was his demeanour, Edmund Riggs' demeanour, like after he was found not guilty of murder, but guilty of manslaughter? What was his reaction or demeanour, if any?
He didn't show any signs of emotion in court. He was quite sort of measured throughout the whole trial. No obvious signs of emotion to really point to there. He sort of remained emotionless most of the trial.
I mean, it has echoes of a television crime thriller, doesn't it? It's so macabre.
It's very, it's been a high-profile cold case for many years, and one that there's some sort of milestone with today, but for the family of Patricia, there's still have a lot left to go with wanting to know where the rest of her remains are.
Elliot Simpson, reporter on that trial of Edmund Ian Riggs, who was found guilty of manslaughter at the court today.
Tom Gleeson here to tell you all about the new season of Hard Quiz on ABC TV. The Sunday Herald says ordinary folk are lining up to take a lashing because they're so stupid. Australia's funniest quiz show, says the Hobart Mercury, compared to other things happening in Hobart. Is that a compliment? The Sunday Mail in Adelaide, be prepared to laugh and learn. Learn you're an idiot.
The new season of Hard Quiz, part of your Wednesday night lineup. Tonight on ABC TV. Yours for comedy.
He's a charmer. It's 11 to 5, news at 5. Fideli, the manager of the Sit-Down Comedy Club, is here. Fideli, happy World Radio Day.
Thank you very much. It's a nice day. It's very humid outside.
I'd like to read you a message. This one is from Boston. Ernie of Deception Bay. No, it's not Ernie. Hang on, it's Lindsay. That's right. Steve, just to know, World Radio Day. Many great things have come out of Italy. Wonderful food and beautiful music. But one of the greatest things that came from Italy is radio. The inventor of radio, as we know it today, is Marconi from Bologna in Italy. The technology we have in the mobile phone today has essentially come from the work he did all those years ago. Gotta love Italy, says Lindsay with 3 exclamation marks. Discuss.
Discuss. Yes. You know, unfortunately, he didn't actually invent the radio. Recently, I think it was in the 1950s, Tesla had invented a lot of the patents that actually went
I mean, the 1850s.
약
No,
800m
1950s.
앞
It was, no, radio
좌회전입니다.
was like late
이어서
80s.
우회전입니다. 잠시 후 신호와 과속에 주의하십시오.
No, that's when radio was happening, but the patents, because Tesla invented a lot of different things to do with telecommunications that we use today, and Marconi had used a lot of that stuff to actually develop it, and I think it was in like 1950, late 50s, he actually was the person that invented radio. I actually recently watched a documentary about it on, I think
So
it was
Tesla owns the patents, or owned the patents?
owned the patents.
Owns the patents.
Yeah, yeah. He owned a lot of the patents for AC electricity. He invented a lot of stuff that he used to send electricity around the world. Because there's a really good
You've
documentary.
got to take the invention of the radio out of the hands of your own people. The Italians,
I know, but he's a forgotten hero. Like there's so much stuff that he's done.
Nikola Tesla.
Nikola Tesla, like there was a war between him and Edison about using AC power and DC power. And
One of them roasted an elephant or something.
yeah, the elephant at Coney Island killed someone, so they did a public execution. But then one of the other interesting things from Edison is Sangdang, the strong man, is one of the first people filmed as well. There's like all these interesting things that pop out when you start looking at these sort of things. But Tesla is a fantastic, interesting man who's quite bizarre. There's a few things that are coming out recently about the Tesla tower that they had in New York. They built a new one. Like, actually, Elon Musk's doing quite a few things with his technology as well.
I don't whether to believe you or not. I was raised, everyone knows who you're encyclopedia Britannica, who invented the radio, Marconi. The Italians invented radio for them.
It's a conspiracy, I'm telling you now. The Italians invented Ferraris. They did really good on that. They were very good at fashion. Very bad at politics.
Let me bring you a message on World Radio Day. Antonio Gutierrez, the head of UNESCO. Radio is above even in today's world.
약
The
1.4km
radio
전방에
is more
서방입니다.
people than any other media platform. It conveys Facebook information and raises awareness of and it is a personal interactive platform where people can air their views, concerns,
약
and
1km
experiences.
전방에
Radio can create a community. The United Nations, especially our
about data with it.
That data.
Being able to stream data and not spending too, like, having, it's all about how much limit they still got left and how much reception they've got.
Because they know they have to pay for that.
Well, that's why they're very careful. He's quite careful with it. Yeah. It's something he said, I've got a really good new plan, I get more data than I used to, so, and they're watching the ability of what they have.
Did you know that if you, John from Newmarket says your guest is spot on. This is an outrage. I was raised on reading Marconi. I was raised on Marconi invented the lines. Everyone knew. John from Newmarket says you're right.
And it's like the thing where people say, Edison invented the light bulb. He did, but with another 150 scientists and physicians and all that, See, where Tesla sort of, Westinghouse was, I'm getting into weird history stuff.
I get into weird history stuff. We know what you do later tonight on the internet. Look up history.
I do. I'm very big into biographies and things like that. And it's one of those things, Tesla patented a lot of stuff, but he invented all the stuff that he patented. But Edison was famous for patenting things that other people had worked for and invented.
So he was a very smart businessman.
He was a very smart businessman. Yeah. Exceptionally.
John of Newmarket says you're absolutely correct. I'm shocked and disturbed.
Maybe you should watch some documentaries.
This lifetime belief has been shattered.
You can't trust somebody in Britannia.
Did you come, so when you drove back, my guest, by the way, is Fideli, he's the manager of Sangdang Comedy Club. He comes in every Wednesday just to shoot the breeze. He's not far away. When you came up, so you drove back, you came through Gundawindi.
West,
Yeah, West Wyong. That's my stop over motorcycle.
Is it?
Yeah. So you came back
come out on a motorcycle. Okay, because it's 110 along the way. Well, that's what you're supposed to drive.
I'll keep going. So when you came back, did you come back via Warwick? Okay. So if you come back from Gundawindi to Warwick, you've got all those funny signs. Those local authorities on the train both of them saying, sorry kids, it's still 4 hours to Brisbane or something like that.
That's good.
Costigan to be banned from schools. Councillor Mike Brunker says he hopes the minister can make a clear ruling.
In 2015, the Labor Party committed to review the police complaint system. After years of inquiries and consultation, the state government has formed new legislation which will refine the process. Minister Mark Ryan says the proposal is to make the process more transparent and timely.
A new system that ensures accountability and fairness.
The legislation was introduced to Parliament today and, if passed, will reduce the time frame for investigations, increase penalties and allow for easier appeals.
Queensland's Attorney-General says she hopes new laws passed in State Parliament will help stop the distribution of so-called revenge porn. People convicted of sharing or threatening to share intimate images of someone without their consent will face up to 3 years in jail under the legislation. Yvette Darth told the House it comes down to respecting others.
We have to actually change our behaviour, culture and how we look at these things, and it's not just about sexual images, it's about how we interact and treat each other.
The state government says it's poised to act against Indian mining giant Adani over the release of polluted floodwaters from its Abbott Point coal terminal in North Queensland. Here's Josh Robertson.
The Environment Department says tests confirm floodwater releases by Adani into sensitive wetlands last week exceeded the authorised level of coal concentration. They show the water flowing in the County Valley on February 8 at 33 milligrams a litre of sediment. The company's tests a day earlier showed 58 milligrams, almost double the 30 milligrams allowed under its environmental licence. The department issued a show cause notice to Adani ahead of potential enforcement action, including fines and prosecution. Adani is already fighting prosecution over floodwater releases in 2017.
Prince Leonard of Hutt, who fought Australian authorities from his independent state, has died, aged 93. Natasha Harradine reports.
It was a stoush with the state government over wheat production quotas that saw Leonard Casley secede from the rest of Australia in 1970. He set up the independent state of Hutt River, about 500 kilometres north of Perth, and crowned himself Prince Leonard. The province is not recognised by the federal government, but is a popular stop for tourists to get their passports stamped and buy the local currency, the Hutt River dollar. He battled emphysema for some time, handing the crown to his youngest son Graham 2 years ago. Prince Leonard passed away in hospital early this morning.
On the markets, the All Ordinaries Index fell 9 points today. It closed at 6,140. The Australian dollar's worth 71.28 US cents. Queensland's weather, showers and storms continuing tomorrow for the Cape. Showers for southeastern districts with possible storms inland from the coast. Remaining hot in the east, although severe heat wave conditions will ease. Brisbane 24 to 31. The Sunshine Coast 23 to 30. The Gold Coast 24 to 29. And at Ipswich 23 to 32. You've been listening to ABC News.
ABC Radio Traffic.
We've had a few incidents this afternoon on the majors, but good news is most have been cleared fairly quickly. Now, at Plainland, got a semi-trailer and a car incident reported. That's Brogo Highway near Langley Plainland Road, just in as we speak. And also just in the last couple of minutes at Belmont, a two-vehicle nose-to-tail crash. Gateway southbound right lane block before Meadowlands Road. Those delays are impacted to Galway and reduced speed limits in place for safety there as crews clear that instance. So those speeds are down to 40 kilometres per hour. At Coomera, got a crash at Reserve Road and Abraham Road, and also at the moment the Western Freeway is really slow from Vancouver to Victory. It's been quite a solid run this afternoon. Also delays, Bonus Road southbound through Winter Road and Rockley and Cooper's Plains. It's been busy on Gippy Road outbound from Kedron through the Castledine, and also built up on Ross Highway northbound through Rubber Downs. And Coronation Drive looking pretty good inbound
through Milton. Just some minor delays, but looking good on the approach to North King generally. Ipswich motorway has been slow westbound from Rockley to Oxley. Captain Goodbridge Riverside Expressway, slow both ways generally through the city. We did have a couple of early incidents. Again, they got cleared fairly quickly this afternoon. And the M1 southbound has been busy around the Gateway, emerging 8 Mile Plains through the Rochdale south. And the Gateway southbound generally from Mackenzie getting on to the M1. From the Australian Traffic Network, I'm Brad. More details at 5:30 on ABC Radio Brisbane.
Streaming live online and on the ABC Listen app. This is ABC Radio Brisbane with Steve Austin.
Lovely to have you along. In just a moment, what kind of plane is not allowed to fly? You'll hear the answer to that very soon, and it particularly affects people like angel flight, which no doubt you're aware of in the state and support it. I'm raising this because in a week's time, charities like Angel Flight will no longer be lawfully allowed to use helicopters to carry patients. Very surprising. More on that commercial change to aviation just a moment. If you're interested in aviation, all the work of Angel Flight and other similar organisations, keep listening. It's very surprising. We'll be speaking with the Civil Aviation Safety Authority very, very soon. It's 7 minutes past 5. Lovely to have you along. There's a comedian called Eddie Izzo coming to Brisbane very soon. And he has that wonderful bit of comedy that we've probably played a zillion times on the ABC called the Death Star Canteen. I'm not going to play that for you today, but I am going to play you something else that's very funny. I've edited it to try and remove any swear words, which is quite difficult with Eddie Izzard, but nevertheless he's very funny. Thank you to the listener who said Steve Marconi invented the radio as we know it today. Tesla, among other scientists, tried and didn't develop the technology. The radio wave Hertz was invented by Hertz. This is the name. Thank you very much. Could I convince Fidelity of that? I've told you the weather. What can I tell you? The trains appear to be running on time, which is good news. I did receive a message from Michael. Thank you very much. Michael Powell sent me a note saying, Steve, it looks like that in Queensland we've set a new record for power consumption. And he sent me a photo of a graph where the normal use and today's use is quite high. It's quite high. Michael, thank you very much for that. And when it comes to